All right, we're going to continue with the network buy methodology, talking about demand-side platforms and specifically targeting. So targeting is an important topic when it comes to any kind of media buying. From an advertiser's perspective, it's a huge advantage in terms of reducing our ad spend and maximizing our return on investment. So aside from standard targeting options that are available through traditional ad networks, for example, geo-targeting, language, frequency capping, etc., there are other more sophisticated targeting options that are available through DSPs. First one we have here is URL targeting. So some DSPs log detailed performance data for all their active campaigns, and for advertisers that request it, and only for those campaigns with a reasonable amount of conversions, they can pull reports on where the conversions occurred and create a new campaign targeting only those profitable URLs. So with Site Scout you can do this, but it's only added by a campaign's account rep, so make sure you have one. However, they tell me it should be a self-service feature in the near future. And retargeting. So the main points to take away as agencies, merchants, and affiliates is that you can gather audience data from all your marketing efforts combined by simply adding a retargeting pixel to your offer landing page and other strategic spots. So we're going to go in depth about this in another section later on in the course, but we'll touch briefly on it here in this section. Number one, we want to put retargeting pixels on your website, landing pages, and so on. Two, we want to put a unique retargeting pixel on your conversion thank you pages because we want to target those people differently than we would somebody that doesn't convert. We want to create a campaign that targets your audience with a unique message. And four, add untargeting for the converted audience to avoid preaching to the choir, so to speak. So as you can see here, here's a shot of the Site Scout interface, and you can see that you have the option here to untarget specific pages. So the pixel for my conversion page you can untarget, but you can see here if they landed on the page and didn't convert, we can continue with our retargeting. We can target by device, operating system, and browser targeting. So the concept of targeting by device, operating system, and browser is very important to many advertisers. For example, if you have a landing page that is not designed for mobile, you probably don't want to be advertising on a mobile device. On the flip side, if you're promoting a downloadable application for Windows, you don't want to be showing your ad on a non-Windows platform. And you can see here on the Site Scout platform that you have the option to allow or block certain devices or browsers. Okay, we also have contextual targeting. So contextual targeting is a powerful layer of targeting that leverages a third-party classification engine, which allows you to target only specific URLs that match the categories of your choice. Now, there are several providers out there. Site Scout told me that they chose to partner up with Proximic, but they also have Peer39 is out there for their third-party data integration. And as you can see here, we're able to choose all these contextual targeting. So we have, education, adult education, home, garden, interior decorating. So we can get very specific about a lot of this stuff. So one of the advantages to advertisers by using a DSP such as Site Scout as opposed to a direct site buy or through large ad networks is that generally, the minimum for an ad network is a very high, $5,000 to $10,000, whereas a DSP has a much lower barrier of entry, and like we mentioned, Site Scout is only $500 to get started. And it has no shortage of ad reach, so billions of impressions are available via DSPs across thousands of individual sites and across almost every wired nation worldwide. So the reach extends to almost anyone internet enabled. Another advantage we have is we can have integration with targeting data. So at the moment when you target a site, they're essentially a run of site aside from the global targeting rules that you set for your campaign. So geo, device, page position, dimensions, etc. Third-party contextual data partners are good solutions to give you more control over where your ad shows up on sites. So with it you can target specific categories like sports or financials across all the sites you can target with brand safety controls included. Other types of data integration include demographics in the in-market audiences, which allow you to target by gender, age, income, interest, or whether someone is in the market for a BMW convertible. So it's pretty amazing stuff. So third-party data provider costs are usually just passed on to the advertisers. So if and when you choose to use them, for demographic targeting, the prices range from $25 to $1.50 per CPM. and real-time reporting and controls. So one of the problems with traditional media buying through an ad network and publishers is where an insertion order is involved is the lack of real-time control over your campaigns. So if you use a third-party ad server, you're probably going to have real-time traffic reporting, but it's not necessarily real-time control over the traffic that you're receiving. So even with an out clause, it's still necessary for someone from the publisher's ad campaign to stop the traffic, and sometimes this can take from 24 to 48 hours. On a truly real DSP like SiteScout RTV, you can see every vital metric needed to optimize your campaign and at a glance, and all updated in real time, and the delay in the interface statistics is around 15 seconds. So other bells and whistles to look for in a DSP including the fundamental features like day parting, geo-targeting, frequency capping, and spending budget. So here is one of the gripes of DSPs in regard to competition, is that traffic may stop at any moment. This is often related to the auction process, which breeds competition in its very nature. You know, a lot of people are familiar with how prices have been driven up on Google. If your default bids are set to $1 and someone comes along and bids $1.01, you will notice a drop in your amount of impressions won. The reason why it sometimes won't stop completely is because of frequency caps. If you are the second highest bidder, your impressions will resume every time the top bidder hits their frequency cap. So some of the challenges also is non-guaranteed traffic. So as opposed to a direct media buy, there is no guarantee that you will win the impressions you are bidding on when you're bidding through an RTB. This could be for many reasons, but the most common is that you were outbid. And other reasons could be that you were blocked by the publisher or you weren't properly whitelisted by them in the first place. And another challenge is remnant traffic. So while not universally true, as in the case of private exchanges, session depths are usually higher on RTB inventory. The reason for this is because at the moment publishers are still very much experimenting with the idea of RTB technology and are therefore testing the waters, so to speak, with their remnant inventory. And it's important to understand that the following. There is a blurry line between what is referred to as premium inventory and remnant inventory. Publishers love to think that all their inventory is of premium quality. In reality, the ultimate factor in what determines whether traffic is premium or not is the method and price at which it's bought. What people call remnant inventory is simply any inventory that is unsold directly by a publisher or the ad operations team acting on their behalf. Of course, it would be absurd to think that the quality of inventory drops the moment it becomes remnant, but for some reason there is a general notion that remnant inventory automatically equates to low quality. So while that might be true in some cases, it's an unfair generalization. Ad quality and block lists. So a strict ad review process is in place to protect the interest of all parties. Deceiving end users with poor quality advertisements and offers not only jeopardizes the DSP's relationship with the ad exchanges and publishers, it also forces platforms to become more aggressive in their policies towards affiliates and performance marketers